Hi everybody, and welcome back to Tales of Wanderlust. I'm Cass, and if you want to know the 5 things that I love about this Alaskan flatbed and the 5 things that I would change, then stay tuned. It is officially my last day with the Alaskan. So after having the camper for 3 weeks, I am here in Denver. I'm doing my last pop-up camper tour, which is in one of the town parks. So people can come check out the rig for about 2 hours. And then I am dropping it off at the Denver airport. Alaskan is flying in. They're gonna pick it up, drive it back home to the Pacific Northwest. And I'm going home. It's been really fun to try out a new rig, see all the pros and cons and how it worked out for me by just borrowing it. So this was a really cool experience and I'm really glad I was able to do it. So today what I want to walk you through is, now that I've had it for this long and I've driven it through New Mexico, all over Colorado, what are the things that I love about the Alaskan and what are the things that I would change if I could? All right, so let's start with the 5 things that I love about the Alaskan. All right, the first thing, and I think this one is pretty obvious, is that it is a hard-sided pop-up truck camper. So I'm currently on my 4th truck camper, and what I love is a nice solid hard-sided camper so you don't have to worry about weather, wind, you feel nice and secure. But I like the low profile of a pop-up truck camper because in my own experience, I've noticed a huge increase in miles per gallon. The drivability is so much easier. You don't notice the high winds, you don't notice it on the truck, and going up and down Forest Service roads, you don't have to worry about the height and hitting trees. So up here in the bed area, in order to set up the camper, all you do is you set up these 3 panels. So the back one slides in first. Then you do the side one. The hard sides are set up. Well, there are metal clips here too that you pop into place. But other than that, you now have hard sides around you. So in the 3 weeks I've had this camper, I've had it in high winds, rain, hail, and some really nice sunny weather. So what I've noticed is you can actually raise and lower the camper in really all weather conditions. High winds, it doesn't even notice it when it's going up. In rain, there's actually gutters along the outside here. And also notice when it folds, the exterior is pointing up. So the gutters, if you have a normal rain, it'll keep it out and you don't have to worry about things getting wet. If you're in a really bad storm and there's some wind associated with that rain, having the exterior pointed up, you might get a little bit of water in here, but not much. And then you just pop that up. It's all outside. So your bed stays dry. Overall, this is the reason that I wanted to try the Alaskan, was for the hard-sided, and I ended up really loving it. All right, the second thing that I really love about the Alaskan, the flatbed and the slide-in both have a similar dinette, and this is the easiest to use dinette I've had in any of my campers in the last 8 years of RVing. So it's really easy to take down and put away, and it's not like you have to handle really heavy table. This thing is light, especially once you take the table leg out. It's such a light table. And then you just pop it up there, lock into place, and the table is put away. Take the leg, toss it in a cupboard. So here's my real favorite thing. In all of my campers, if you want to put down the dinette, it's solving a puzzle and it's pulling together a lot of different pieces. In here, that's it. Look at that. It's a bed. And that's in real time. I didn't even speed that up. That is so easy. I don't know why more people don't do that. I love it. It's just, you know, and you can do one side, you can do the other. So I like sitting here. I like reading. There's a little bit of a gap so I can still get up, get into the kitchen, come back. It is a super easy, super comfortable dinette. It's a great design. I've actually been eyeing the brackets that it's been sitting on to see if I can find them. And then when I renovate another rig, I might try to look at doing something like this because I love this. Like, I can't I love the hard-sided because that was really the main reason I wanted to try this, but this is really a close second. I love this dinette. All right, the third thing that I love about the Alaskan, and this is a flatbed layout. So in the slide-in camper, the dinette is actually here, right next to the bed, and then these cabinets are closer to the door, and it is a rear entry unit. So from seeing the slide-ins in person, you have this similar benefit, but it's a slightly different layout. But what my third favorite thing is how all of the counters, so this is the bathroom cabinet, the kitchen, and the table are all the same height. It makes it an amazing working space. That this really, for cooking, is plenty of room. Over here, if I'm cooking a really big meal, like tacos, I need to have a lot of stuff out, so I can dump everything here while I'm prepping food here. Then, since this trip I've been trying to film a lot of videos, over here I can have my laptops open. I can be uploading video, I can be getting stuff ready, all while cooking here. I've also had it where I had my personal laptop here, uploading video, my work laptop here, and then I can still cook. So the amount of workable space in these rigs is really nice. The fourth thing that I love about the Alaskan is that you can get it really airy and really bright in here. So you can see that there's windows around, nice big one over the kitchen area. They do only open halfway, so you can see it's like a slide window. So when you have just the windows, it's your typical average airflow in an RV since they only open halfway. But the Alaskan has this half door, so you can pop open half the door and then let a good amount of air in there, and there's a good amount of light. And then the other thing that I really enjoy doing is up here, you can have just one panel down while the other two are up. And the amount of airflow that just brought in is huge. So where I camp in the Southwest, there aren't that many bugs. There still are some. I had to close everything up when I was in Colorado at one specific campground because there were giant flying ants that were coming in. So there's no screen when you do it this way, but a lot of times when I camp, I don't have to worry about bugs. So what I found is during the day, I open the windows, yes, but I tend to open this up quite often. And look how much air and light is coming in. And there's so much natural light in here, which you know I love, and the breeze is amazing to feel. So the reason that I like that so much is in a normal camper, when it gets stuffy or really warm, you're opening the windows, you're turning on the ceiling fans, you're trying to air it out, you throw the door open, and it takes a while to get the air to turn over in the camper. With the panels that go down like that, and then having the door on the other side of the camper, and I think in the slide-in this would be even better since the door's on the back side of the camper, you can get airflow moving through here really quickly. So I've noticed on an 85-degree day in New Mexico, it can get pretty warm in here, but as soon as the sun goes down and the temperature drops, I drop those panels, I open the door, and the temperature in here drops pretty quickly. It also, if it gets stinky in here, because you do have your toilet, I had a stinky hot water heater, so there were some smells along this trip. I was able to clean everything, pop those down, and the smell was gone in an instant. Also, with the toilet right here, and the half door right there, if you piece it together, if you need to open that door for airflow and for some circulation, you totally can, and you can get some good airflow as well to air things out. All right, and for the final thing I love about the Alaskan, notice I'm back towards these panels, is how easy it is to raise and lower this roof and move camp spots. So on this pop-up tour where I've been driving the Alaskan around, showing it in different cities, I have been to 12 different towns in 3 weeks. And then in between there, I've been going to some of my favorite boondocking spots, going on a few different hikes. So I'm moving this truck camper at least once a day, if not more than that. So this roof is going up and down constantly. I'm constantly driving around. As you've seen a lot, these panels, they're easy to come down. And then there is a button and the whole system to bring the roof down is electric. All you need to do in order to tear the camper down is bring down the sides. And then there are these metal tabs here. You gotta make sure that those are in so it doesn't hit this cabinet when it comes down. Next, Make sure all the windows are closed because these tabs will catch when the roof comes down. So all the windows are fully closed. Make sure the countertops are clear. All you have to do is, pop open the front door. And then you hit this button. And there goes the roof. When you're bringing the roof down, you do have to hold the button the whole time. It is a safety thing. This demo unit, somebody did try to lower the roof while the panels were still up. So like some of the brackets are damaged, and you can definitely cause damage if you don't close the roof properly, which is on every pop-up camper. So if I owned an Alaskan, I would make sure all my gear had proper bins and storage so that I could easily throw things up in the cabinets and get it off the counter really quickly. And then that's it. The roof is down. So now I can sit here, throw on my shoes, walk out the door, and then we're good to leave. I do have to take the stairs off, but we're gonna get to the stairs in the next segment. What I'm gonna show you now are the top 5 things that have not been my favorite on this trip and have caused me the most discomfort, if you wanna say. And I'll also tell you how I would fix them if I owned an Alaskan. So in here, you'll see that there's about a 4-inch cushion. And then underneath, it is just plywood. So there's no kind of underbed storage, and that is due to the way the cab over is built and designed. But there is so much potential to have underbed storage. You can store so much under there. This flatbed truck camper has a ton of storage because flatbeds, you don't have to worry about the wheel wells. So this wouldn't be an issue. But in the slide-in, your storage is a little bit more limited because you have to have that T-base in order to go around the wheel wells. That's not something I could add in. But the other thing I noticed is that this mattress is pretty firm. I have a really fluffy winter duvet. So I've actually been sleeping in the duvet like a sleeping bag so that the bottom of it I'm sleeping on to add a little bit more cushion, and then I fold the top over. Now I will say, I am one that really likes plush mattresses. And in all of my other rigs, I have put in custom memory foam with pillow toppers. I've got a wool-lined pillow top that goes on. I've never tried one of the Foley systems underneath, but I've heard great things about them, and I'd love to try one. So I am a person that likes a plush mattress. I've met other Alaskan owners who are perfectly happy with the cushions that are up here. So it is very much a personal thing, but I personally don't find this to be a comfortable sleeping area. I have gotten used to it over the last 3 weeks, and now I sleep through the night, but I wake up a little bit sore in the hips. That's why I usually go for a plush mattress. When I was talking to Alaskan, the reason you can't put anything really bigger in here is because of the way the sides fold in and the top comes down. Also in this unit, it has double pane windows. So those windows are pretty thick and they stick into the camper a good inch. So that takes away some of your workable room up here in the bed as well. If I was going to buy an Alaskan, what I would do is I would leave the double pane windows in the rest of the camper, so you get the insulation, but I would get single pane windows up in the bed area to give me that extra inch, so I could put a Foley system underneath, or I could put a pillow top on top of here, and I could make this more of a comfortable mattress for me. It is a very personal thing in terms of mattress comfort, so that's a me thing, but if you do like the plush mattresses, I would talk to Alaskan. They have seen others put Foley systems in here and do different kind of customizations, so they can walk you through a few different ideas in order to get that done. All right, now the next thing that I don't really love is these stairs. Thankfully, these stairs are an option, and you don't have to have these stairs. So there are other better options out there in my opinion. But the thing that I don't like about these stairs is you have to have them lined up perfectly in order to put in these little tiny pins. And you also have these pins and these locks that, I forget what these are called, that would be easy to lose. So I would want at least a couple of these as spares if I was going on a really long trip, especially to a remote place. But you've got to get this whole thing lined up, get the pins in. It would be a lot easier if I was 2 people, but I am 1. It's also easier if you extend the stairs out, but they've been rained on a lot and they need some WD-40 because they're not opening very easily right now. Another thing about these stairs is earlier when I was talking about how easy it is to set up and tear down the camper, these stairs are my least favorite part of doing that. I really dread it. So half the time, I don't even use the stairs. I just use the tire and I jump in and out of the truck camper because I really don't like setting up these stairs. So if I had a different style, it would be much, much easier to use. All right, so the third thing that I am not a fan of in this Alaskan is the indoor shower. But it's only for a very small reason and something that can easily be fixed. There is the indoor shower. I am a huge fan of indoor showers because you can come in here at night after a long day of hiking and exploring, turn on the heat, take a luxurious hot shower. I usually take military style showers where I'm only using like a gallon of water, but still having that hot water hit you after a long day feels luxurious when you're camping. And this specific design is very easy to set up. You just clip everything into the carabiners. However, the shower curtain is too loose. So when you are using hot water and the air temperature outside is colder, it actually creates some air pressure and it pushes the shower curtain in. Notice if you take a hot shower at home, the shower curtain will kind of move in towards you. Same thing here. So as you're showering, and you can tighten these, but it doesn't take away enough of the extra fabric. So as you're in here and you're showering, the shower curtain starts to attack you. And I feel like I'm one of those commercials where people are struggling with things and it's like, well, here's an easier solution. So I've only taken one shower in here because as you're showering and you're soaping up, the shower curtain is literally rubbing on you. And to me, that grosses me out a lot. So how I would fix that and what my recommendation was to Alaskan is to just add 2 more hooks like that and just pull it tighter. That way, if the whole curtain is a little bit tighter and it's fully pulled out, then the shower curtain's not going to attack you. And then honestly, this would be a pretty nice indoor shower. You still have to deal with a wet shower curtain, which is a van life, truck camper life thing. So in my tour video, I talk a little bit about how I do that. But this would be an awesome indoor shower if the shower curtain would just leave you alone. The next thing that I would change on this camper is notice the roof is down. Now picture this, you're driving all day, you're drinking a lot of water, you're staying hydrated, you're in the middle of nowhere and you have to use the restroom. So I find I like rigs where I can pull over on the shoulder of the road or a nice little rest stop and I can just hop in my own rig, use my own personal bathroom and then keep going. So in this rig, the bathroom cabinet is here. Notice that is as much as the lid goes up when the camper is down because of this cabinet. You can't really use the cassette, although I'm a very determined person, so I did use it and I figured out how I would use it. So how I did it on this trip would be different than if I owned this camper. How I did it on this trip with a stock unit is you can at least go up a little bit and you have handy dandy rolls of toilet paper which slide in here. They hold that cabinet up the good 6 inches. And then you can sneak in and you can use the toilet in desperate situations. Or you could not be lazy like me and just hit the automatic button down here that raises the roof. And you could give yourself a little bit more room to actually raise the lid enough to make it more comfortable. I'm not even touching anything and the roof is going up. So that's how I handled this on this trip. If I owned an Alaskan, I would try to see if there's a way that I could either pop the top off so I could just take the whole lid off, or this one I can't because of the distance, but do a slide, maybe do something where it's like half folds. So there's a few different options, but I would want to make a modification so that I could use the toilet a little bit more comfortably on the road without raising the roof. But at the same point, you can use the stock design. And I've been talking now for what, less than 30 seconds? And look at this. Again, really just comes down to how you use the camper, and that's just something that I ran into. The other thing that I'll just mention is this does have the built-in cassette toilet. That is an option. So this is my first cassette toilet that I've ever used. It's really nice being able to dump in a lot of different areas. But at the same point, the low capacity of it, I find I'm dumping it every other day. So I'm not sure I'm in love with the cassette toilet yet, but you don't have to have that. You could go for a composting, you could go for a dry flush. That's the nice part, is it's just a cabinet if you want, and then you can put what you want in there. For the final thing that I would change about this camper, and in my last conversation with Alaskan, this is actually already on their radar. I need to put the roof back down. So here we go again. Again, my whole point of this is very easy to raise and lower. I've done this, what now? 2-3 times in this one video. All right, the last thing that I would add to an Alaskan if I had it is notice there are no molly panels, there's no ladder, there is a bracket for this water holder, but there's not much on the outside to strap things to. I strap a lot of gear to the outside of my camper. So when I have a ladder on my truck campers, I put bags on there, which is where I store garbage. I store my outdoor carpet. There is a roof rack on here, so I'd love to put a toolie up there. But you need to have a way to access that, and I don't really want to carry around an extra ladder because I always use the back seat for the dog. I like having the mole panels and the ladders and things like that where I can strap a lot of stuff to the outside. When I talk to Alaskan, that is on their radar, so keep an eye out. I'll be keeping an eye out in the future. I'm curious what they're going to be doing, but that is the other thing I've noticed on this trip is I've had to put my garbage inside, and so I'm also throwing out garbage a lot more often, which uses a lot more garbage bags, things like that, because you don't want it to smell. You can see the roof is still down. The dinette is a little bit tight because the cabinet is in your back and I can't actually sit up straight. This is the same in my own truck camper. But I get asked a lot if you can sit in here when the roof is down. Technically, yes. It's also with the push of a button. If I raise this 6 inches or a foot, I could sit up straight. So I could pull over on the side of the road, eat a lunch, and then get back on the road pretty quickly. So overall, what did I think of the Alaskan? I really enjoyed my time in the Alaskan, and the hard-sided pop-up, it is a huge benefit. It is really nice to have. So this rig has kept me nice and warm in a lot of different weather conditions. So it's been a really great rig for the 3-week adventure. Am I gonna go out tomorrow and buy an Alaskan? At this point, no, because 3 weeks before I went on this adventure, I actually bought my own pop-up truck camper because I found a killer deal on a pop-up that was local to me. I've been wanting to get into the pop-up market and I got in at a really low price. So I'm gonna take that one. It is a Hallmark with the canvas sides. And I've also been finding that I'm really enjoying trying different rigs and I'm learning a lot. And I can try to take the pros and cons from each rig and really customize my own to make it exactly what I want. So I'm excited to try out my own Hallmark for a while and see how I like it, how the canvas does. And I haven't had my Hallmark in the weather conditions that I've had this Alaskan in. This has been through a lot more than I have in my own camper. Now I have something to compare it to, and it'll be really interesting to see how I like the two. And then I'll really be able to compare this experience to that experience and then know where I want to take my personal rig from there. So with that, if you have any questions at all about my experience in the Alaskan over the last 3 weeks, feel free to comment below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on down the road.